This is how I use the sun to make this. All living things on Earth, one way or another, get their energy from the sun. And in a time where our climate is a precarious one, I wanted to explore this human solar relationship through an art project. Making art during the summer has always been a struggle, especially with California temperatures reaching well above 100. This got me thinking about the power of the sun, like the way it sun bleached this green bandana, and especially evaporation. Instead of fighting with the sun, I wondered if there was a way I could collaborate with it. This solar human collaboration attempt is going to revolve around the sun's power to evaporate water. I spent some time shopping around for glass bottles that would not only look visually appealing, but also functional for my idea. It's mid-June now, and I just received my package. I ordered 12 glass bottles and 12 lids. Although I almost went with wine bottles and even olive oil bottles, I ended up choosing these Boston Round 32-ounce glasses. The lids will come in handy so I can control somewhat the rate of evaporation. I think these are going to be perfect for creating some solar sound art. But where do I begin creating sound art? What sound does the sun even make? What you're listening to right now is what's referred to as the sonification of the sun, or the sound the sun makes. Thanks to researchers at NASA, we know that the sun vibrates at the extremely low frequency of 0.0033 hertz. So low, it had to be sped up so we could hear it. But I want to know which note the sun makes. Luckily, there's an equation, and 0.0033 hertz is about 195.3 half steps below middle C, which just so happens to be an A note. And just to double check, here's what an A sounds like. To turn this into a type of sound art, I'm going to start with the A scale. Every other note in that scale gives us our A major triad chord, but I need a bit more. Adding on the G sharp gives me an A major 7. Adding the B and the D gets me what I think I'm looking for. I now need to transfer that extended A chord onto 6 of the glass bottles, and this is not the easiest task for me. I'm not a musician by any means, so I am lacking. In fact, most definitely lacking when it comes to perfect pitch. But using a tuner on my phone and listening to the notes through headphones and trying to match them seemed to work out okay. But it was definitely a lot of trial and error. Once I found as close to the note as possible, I went ahead and weighed it and recorded it so that I could easily recreate the note. I repeated the process 6 times, trying my best to match each bottle to A, C sharp, E, G sharp, B, and D. Once each bottle was tuned, I tied a tag with the note onto each neck of the bottle. This was for me so I wouldn't get them mixed up because they all kind of look the same. Now that they're all ready, we're just about good to let the sun take over. The extended A chord that I hoped to achieve needed just a slight tweak though. The last 2 notes needed to be tuned down just a bit to an A and a B, and this is what they sound like on the bottles. I'm curious about how much water will actually evaporate, and so in my sketchbook, I created a log of the weights of each glass. I also started thinking that the glass bottles kind of need some sort of stand to unify them all together. I also started thinking about the sun bleaching, and maybe it might be an interesting supplementary piece to sun bleach some colored paper. On the morning of July 1st, just before the sun came up, I set the bottles up so that the sun could finally take over. So they don't accidentally topple, I have them set up in a plastic tub with sand at the bottom. I'm also going to use construction paper to set up that supplementary work that I've been thinking about. I really like the idea of using sun bleaching to create some minimalist designs to go alongside these bottles. Not only that, but using the colored paper kind of alludes to the different colors in the visible light spectrum. So I'm simply just putting a wood circle in the middle of each paper and weighed down so they don't blow away, so that the sun will bleach the color on the outside and what's underneath should still remain bright and vivid. Now I wait for the sun to rise and start its process evaporating these bottles for all 31 days in July. As I wait for the sun to do its job evaporating the water in the bottles, I want to start on this unifying slab or stand for the bottles. I'm just using a piece of leftover styrofoam from a package to create a long oval shape that'll work as our form. I use an X-Acto knife to score and I think this is a metal blade to saw out the styrofoam piece. Scoring first with an X-Acto knife, especially around the curves, really helps to keep the saw blade in the right direction. a light sand to get rid of anything uneven, and I tape both forms together. I decided to use concrete to make this form, mostly because I was thinking a stony and rocky surface would visually look nice with the bottles. To be honest, if I could have carved this out of rock, I probably would, but concrete is just as good. I make sure the concrete is packed evenly, add a little extra to the top, and smooth it out with a scrap piece of wood. About a day later, and it's time to break the concrete form out of the mold, which is definitely single use. Just after a day also, and the paper has really been sun bleached. But the reveal is satisfying. It's finally July 31st, and the sun has just set. So I cap the bottles and take a look at what's changed. Altogether, they sound very dissonant now. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge to make some kind of sun song out of them. To go along with that sun song is our sun bleached paper. And I think these make an excellent supplementary piece to go alongside the glass bottles and the sound art that's going to follow. The colors, like I said, allude to the visible light spectrum that our sun produces, as well as having a circle motif. Now that the sun has finished its job tuning the bottles, it's now my job to come back as the artist and create some kind of sound art. It took one day to experiment with the new notes and their relationships to each other, and another day to create the piece of sound art. So what you're about to watch is what I call Sun Song, and it has an accompanying art video with it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Mm.